So welcome to today's video, guys, and I think today might be a little bit more serious of a video, but that's because I need your guys' opinions on some different things that I've been thinking about for this car. So maybe first we should just get out of the way the decision that I'm thinking of that might be the most far away, or the most advantageous might be the better word for it, but that is selling this thing and upgrading to something that is a little bit newer and more fun. So when I say that, I mean that I'm thinking about selling this car and maybe getting something like a BMW M4, one of the newer Toyota Supras, or also there are some stretch goals that I've been thinking of. Like I've been searching around Copart a little bit, and there's been some older like 2004 to 2008 Lamborghini Gallardos that are starting to come down a little bit in price because they need a little bit of work. So that is more of a stretch goal maybe, because if you guys don't know what Copart is, that's basically a website where people can list. Sometimes they're in good condition cars, but other times like maybe the whole front end is smashed in, maybe the rear is missing a bumper, and you know, different suspension components need replaced. But the ones that I've seen on there that would be in a budget that I would be comfortable with are those types of cars, because obviously the ones that are in near perfect condition are nowhere near my price range at this point. But I had a little bit of a stretch goal that maybe I can figure something out to make that work. But in general, it would probably be something more like a BMW M4, Toyota Supra, maybe some other car that's kind of in that price range, that area. And I did have some thoughts about maybe like some older 90s cars, like a RX-7, or an older Supra, or trying to figure out getting a R34 GTT since you can import them now. So I have a bunch of different ideas. If I did decide to let this car go, it would probably be towards a down payment or towards a full payment of some other car like that. Still in the sports car realm, still stuff that we can do to it, but I do love this car to death. Don't get me wrong, I think I love everything about this car. It has served me well for the time that it's been here. It's at 150,000 miles. It's never given me any crazy problems. I've done basic maintenance on it for the 3 years that I've had it. Really, all it's ever needed is like scheduled maintenance. There was one time I had a misfire and a coil pack needed replaced, or the battery just dying on me consistently was one phase of its life. But it's never been anything catastrophic like the engine blowing up or the transmission going out or like some drivetrain component just shattering. That's kind of a reason that I've loved this car so much, is because of how well it's treated me. It's never given me any sort of big problems that you hear in the WRX space, which could just be from people beating on their cars. A lot of people like to say that with the Boxer engines, they just aren't reliable, but I haven't experienced that in my time having this car. But that was the first idea that I had, was getting rid of this car and starting a new project, whether that's like a M4 or a Supra, or trying to see if I can figure out some way to finance a Gallardo or some other car that's kind of related to those. But the other thing that I was thinking of was keeping this car, and I think what I want to do with it, there's two different routes that I'm thinking of going down when I'm keeping this car, and that is doing an STI swap, which is going to be a little bit costly, but I think that I could find some different parts on like Facebook Marketplace and stuff and do an STI swap. I don't know if personally for me it's worth it to try and like get a crazy IAG closed deck block and do like some 700 horsepower, 500 horsepower build. I kind of feel like if this thing's at like 400, maybe a little bit over 400 horsepower, maybe 5, if it's not crazy expensive to get there, would be something that I would be happy with this car, because it's just way too expensive to build these cars. It's just not entirely worth it to me, at least, because yes, we now have the Infiniti, and that's kind of a lot more reliable of a car than this thing will ever be, even though it's treated me really well when I've had it. I don't think that I need the 700 plus horsepower that you can get from doing some of the crazy builds you've seen with Subarus like this. I think that I would be perfectly happy with this car only having 400 to 500. Something else that I was thinking about with this car is making it more track oriented in terms of suspension. So, you know, just doing every single crazy suspension thing that you can do to a car and doing it to this. We would replace our lowering springs with coilovers. Maybe we'd get some meteor tires. We'd get some strut braces, just pretty much anything you can think that affects the handling of a car and like how much grip you have and being able to corner really hard. That's what we would do to this. because I've seen different like Evos and stuff like that have like some crazy suspension on them, and I think it'd be really cool that even if this car isn't like super fast, it could shine through the corners. And I guess that's kind of like a more track oriented build, or like hill climb, or like toge, if you've ever heard of that. It would kind of be more like that, not necessarily aero wise, but just like suspension and handling wise. We would just dial this thing in like crazy, and then maybe the STI build could come on top of that, or we could do the STI swap and then make the suspension go crazy after that. Though if I do keep this car, I definitely don't want it to have like some crazy flashy horsepower number, because I just don't think that would be the most fun for me in this sense. I think that if maybe it would just had a STI swap and we dialed in the suspension and handling, that those two things together would make this car completely done and perfect in my opinion. I mean, you guys who have been here for a while on the channel kind of know everything that we've done to the car so far, so we can do a quick recap right now. And something that's been on the back burner for a while, if you'll notice, is paint. At some point, this car does need repainted. Mostly in the front is the worst spots. Like if both the side panels, the hood, and the bumper got replaced, this car would basically look brand new almost, because the marks on the door and stuff are really tiny. I don't think it's worth getting that repainted and everything when it's just tiny little marks that are going to get scratched up again. Maybe if I had a bunch of money to burn, we could do that. But really just the front part of this car is where it got beat on the most. But it's got a Stage 2 tune on it right now, so it's got all those parts on it. We went ahead and put lowering springs on it. We put new wheels and tires on it. And there's a bunch of different cosmetic things to it. So it's not really modified that heavily. I mean, it's not like it's got a bigger turbo. It's not like we got bigger injectors. It's not E85, anything like that. And I feel like at this point, I'm content with the amount of horsepower that it makes. That I'm not sure if doing something like E85 or that sort of route with the EJ205 that's in it is worth it to me. I might as well just STI swap it, or maybe get an EJ207 JDM block and put it in here and we do something with that. Because I feel like if we're gonna go for horsepower, it's not worth trying to squeeze out little gains like that. We might as well just do the whole engine swap, and we can get to a level that is reliably like 400 plus horsepower. So you guys will have to let me know what you think down below. I've debated on the idea of selling this car and getting rid of it and maybe starting a new project, but if I did decide to let it go, I think that I'm sort of in the realm of trying to get a new project for us in the term of like a BMW M4, a Supra, maybe if I can get the financing worked out for a like same year or generation, I guess, Lamborghini Gallardo, or maybe some other recommendations that you guys have down below. If you think that maybe the Subaru has had its time on the channel and it's time to upgrade to something else. But also seeing those prices that these are going for, I'm like, well, I might as well keep it, just keep saving a little bit, and then we could have 3 cars on the channel, the Infiniti, the Subaru, and then something else that we find. Or we'll end up keeping this thing, STI swap, make it a crazy handling, suspension overhaul sort of thing, and then at some point get the paint dialed in, get everything looking good on the exterior. But that's the sort of thing that I'm thinking for the future of this car. So let me know what you guys think down below. If you think maybe it's had its time here, if you think maybe we should keep on working on it and we can just save a little bit in the future for a third build to start working on. But I appreciate all your guys' support on the channel. I know we started this channel with the Subaru, so it would be kind of sad to see it go, but maybe you want to see some new sort of build on the channel. Thank you guys for all your support. Subscribe down below if you haven't already. Like the video and let me know what you guys think we should do in the future. And thank you for your support. See you.